I'm Ann Cummings, and I call myself an eco-artist because I work with almost all recycled materials when I do my art, and I try to send an environmental message about taking care of the earth by not using things that can hurt it. So you should have a handout in with the kit that you got for this week, and if you were to look at some of these images, this is the kind of thing that we're going to do. There's a few examples of what eco art is that you can look at. By the way, my printer ink is low, so mine didn't print in beautiful color, but I'm sure yours looks a lot better. On the very last page of this, there are some examples of photos that you can choose from. So you have a choice when you do this of either you can use one of the photos that I gave you and use one of them as just something to go by to help you get an idea. You can use one of your own photos from your camera in your phone, or you can get out an old printed picture. There are lots of different ways that you can do this. The whole idea is that we're really going to think about how do you compose an image? How do you put it together? How do you use things like the elements of design that are line and shape and value and form and space and texture? Because all of those things are important when you create a work of art. So I'd really like you to try and think about that as you're choosing the things that you have from your kit, which I gave you lots of fabrics and papers to work with, and some kind of funny images. So some of these come from old postcards. And if you look around your house, I bet you can find some things of your own to add to this, which makes it even more fun. So once you've chosen the way that you want to do your eco art collage, which might be either using a photo of your own or one of the ones that I provided, or you can always do something completely abstract, like the examples here by the famous artist Matisse. Once you've decided that, then take the piece of cardboard that I gave you and lay it on a clean surface. You may want to get some pieces of scrap paper to put underneath, or even an old towel or an old tablecloth. Always be a neat artist and try to protect your surface. So I've got a whole lot of scrap paper here that I'm going to use. Now you may notice, if you looked at the back of your cardboard, when you're completely done with it, you can sign your name there. And I put a hanging, very, very simple recycled hanger, just made with a paper clip and some adhesive paper tape. You could use masking tape. Now I made it so that it goes vertically, which means that once you're done with yours, it would hang on a wall facing up and down. But you can do it back and forth, landscape way, if you want to. But you'll have to come up with your own paper clip and your own masking tape to make a hanger for it, okay? Because I didn't put one on that direction. But I'm sure that would be a kind of easy thing to figure out at the very end. So the next step, and I'm going to use, I found a picture of the Troy covered bridge. It was the one that was in the news recently that unfortunately burned down. And I found out that I had a picture of it I had taken a number of years ago. So I'm going to try and kind of use this covered bridge. I may try to put the really pretty house, old farmhouse that's next to it, but that might get kind of complicated. And by the way, you can change this. You don't have to make it look exactly like your photo. Be creative. Simplify your images, because it's very hard to make something super realistic in eco art pieces like this in a collage. But that's what makes it so beautiful, because you can simplify and use the actual patterns in the fabric themselves. Like this fabric here has some fabulous patterns that really make it more interesting. Okay, so you then you would want to just sketch. So I'm going to put some mountains in the background with mine. And maybe I'll even make a kind of a sunset. So I'm just sketching in where the lines of the sunset colors might be, and then where I might put the covered bridge. And I'm going to make the covered bridge smaller because I don't want it to take the whole space up like it does in my photo. So I'm just making it a kind of more simplified covered bridge and just using it as my basic kind of outline idea. And then the road that would be going out from it. And I want to get some of the water underneath because I have some really great blue colors to use for the water. So that's how you would start, by just simply laying out your composition, your idea, your design. Now, as I get going, I may want to put in, some of the actual images that I have. I gave you some like this too, or you may find some of your own that you want to put in. So I might decide I want some of these birds in there. But the first thing you always want to do is start in your very background and work your way forward. That's a professional tip that works really well. So I'm going to be starting all the way up at the sky and working my way down. So when I come back for the next clip, you'll see I'm going to cut some paper pieces and fabric pieces and start laying them where I want them. Then I'll show you the gluing process. Hello again, glad you're back. So I wanted to show you how my collage is starting to develop. Up here in the sky area, I have a number of different blue things. I found some really cool little pieces that looked like clouds, so I cut them up to be clouds. I had my covered bridge down lower before, and then I realized that I had more blues for water, and I moved it up so I'd have more room at the bottom. So this is where composing as you go along with a collage can really be kind of fun, because you can make decisions as you go about where you want to put things. Now, when I'm actually ready to start gluing, I use just a watered down glue called Mod Podge, which is a lot like Elmer's glue, and a brush. So I brush it on. So I would move these pieces aside and put the glue down on the cardboard with my brush, and then put the piece down over the top, and then brush more of the watered down glue over the top of that. It dries clear, looks fantastic, and it seals it all. Now, if you have just Elmer's glue or school glue like this in a bottle, you can do exactly the same thing. You can put it in a little cup and water it down a little bit and use a brush, or you can actually even use your fingers. It doesn't matter because it all comes off, it peels off later. If you've ever done that, that's kind of fun. You can use glue stick if it's all you have around, but keep in mind that glue stick has a tendency to not really hold the paper down very permanently. But if you use this, it will definitely hold it down permanently. And if somewhere around a workshop in your house you have some polyurethane. Now this is where, as an eco artist, I don't really like using the plastic stuff, but it's really the only choice for doing something that's adhesive. But you can always use a good water-based kind of like polyurethane to give it a finish at the end if you want to. Okay, I'm going to come back in a few minutes and show you, after I start to glue this down, what it begins to look like. I also need to find some more papers like this that have more blues and greens, because I realize I need more trees and more grass. So you may need to do a little bit of searching in your house too for some other papers to fill in. And if you want to, you can always make this smaller. So if you feel like you need to make your whole composition from the very beginning a little bit smaller, that is fine too. Just use like some really good heavy scissors, make a line, and you can cut off some of the cardboard. Okay, be right back. Hello again. So here we are with my finished eco art collage, or almost finished. Now, I made a lot of changes as I was going through it, and you can too. I don't want you to feel like you have to stick to your original photo or the things that I gave you or whatever you found. I hope you also went through and found some other fun things to put in there. Mine changed a lot because I found some really cool little things, like a postcard with bears on it, and a really pretty card that had a chickadee and some flowers. So I thought I really want to put those in there, and the dog over by the side. So you can always add really fun finishing touches. Oh, so yours does not have to be this complicated. I just wanted to show you what it can look like when you take the time. Don't feel like you have to do it all at one time, too. You can do a little bit, 15, 20 minutes, and then you can come back to it. That's the beauty of being able to do a work of art like this. You can leave it, let it dry, come back and do more, and it's not going to change anything. It's not going to hurt anything. Okay? And these come out so colorful, and that's why it's so fun to hang them on your wall. Now, when this completely dries, because mine isn't dry yet, I'm going to go around the edge and actually trim off all these extra little pieces of fabric and paper that are sticking off of the edge. Also, you'll notice I put a hanger going vertically before, so I would need to put a new one going sideways. But that's really easy to do. I would just use a paper clip and some masking tape, okay? So I hope you really enjoyed. Oh, don't forget to sign your name on your finished work of art, and you can even put the date down there. So I hope that you've enjoyed doing an eco art collage, and maybe it gave you some ideas about some other designs you can do all by yourself. And if you want to go a little further, if you didn't do last week's eco art project, it was doing a color wheel, and that one is on the Milton Artists Guild website, so you can look up the video and you can do something like this for yourself. So you can see that there are many, many different directions to go in doing eco art that turn into lots of really beautiful, colorful things. So I hope you had fun, and I will see you again in another video. Have a good day, and be creative.